freedom always demands sacrifice.
Sadly, the ultimate sacrifice was fast approaching. Dr. King's speech in Memphis the night before his murder was an eerie foreshadowing of things to come.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
On April 4th, 1968, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was shot dead while standing on the balcony of a Memphis motel. He was 39 years old. In a cruel irony, the sudden brutal death of a man who devoted his life to spreading peace caused just the sort of violence he would have denounced.
The day that Martin Luther King was killed, Washington burned, and we walked from FBI headquarters to the parking lots to get our cars, wearing our weapons for the first time maybe, because we had really no reason to carry the weapon, although it was issued to us and we expected if we were on call. But since we were administrators, we were not on call that much. But I remember actually being, for the first time in my life, concerned about my safety walking from the FBI building to the parking lot because of the fact that the rioting and the burning of Washington, D.C.
It sort of frightened the younger children to see soldiers standing on their corners and wondering if they were going to actually shoot people and were we really going to have a war. And I think this was very, very frightening to the young children. I had an interesting story from a fifth grader. I don't think the white people in Washington, D.C. should be faulted for what happened in Memphis. I say that we are not hurting the whites. We are hurting ourselves by burning down the stores and looting. Here's an interesting comment from another fifth grader who was talking about Martin Luther King. His dream wasn't like most dreams. It wasn't just him in the dream. He wanted everybody in his dreams. He wanted to take us to the promised land with him. Now he has left for the promised land, and we have to follow. We have to do as he would have wanted us to do. We have to finish what he worked so hard for.
I sat in my office in the Dirksen office building on the Senate side of the Capitol and watched the downtown part of Washington, D.C. burning. It's all smoke coming up from F Street, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th Street, Pennsylvania Avenue. It was absolute chaos. I saw troops in the street. I remember my family and I lived in northwest Washington in a quiet, wooded neighborhood, and I remember waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning to the clank of tanks. It turned out to be armored personnel carriers through the streets. I don't know where they were going to this day, but at the incongruity of seeing that in the national capital in a quiet part of that city was just overwhelming. This country was on the ragged edge. It was on the ragged edge of socially coming apart.
Despite the violent reaction to Dr. King's death, the Reverend Ralph Abernathy, the new head of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, reaffirmed the dream as he eulogized his fallen friend.
We thank God for giving us a leader who was willing to die, but not willing to kill. Peace be to his ashes and rest to his soul.